Hopefully you can hear me well and see my picture, see my video. This will last for like a minute. Uh, Good morning. I'm now officially kicking off the session. So good morning at my end, good afternoon and good evening at your end, because I'm in a time zone where it's 10 a.m. now. Uh, Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for being here. Hopefully, this coming couple of hours will be beneficial and will add to your experience and knowledge. Thank you very much again. And we are going to start our lecture. Hopefully, you can see my screen, the presentation. The lecture or the session will be a bit different because, again, before introducing myself, again, this is a session, an interactive session. So it's inspired by the hundreds, I may say the thousands of questions that I'm receiving on a daily basis related to extension of time claims and time-related claims, actually. So we are going to expand the terminology from extension of time claims to time-related claims. And actually, we will expand it more to generally claims, because my core course started and the session is not meant to be a marketing for my training or any training that I'm delivering. So this is a general session that is not meant to be any kind of marketing. But anyways, when I started teaching claims or extension of time claims, I was oriented to delay analysis only. And then going on since 2018 now, going on and on, I started delivering, going on and on delivering this training. I found out that it's a very small portion of a holistic image that is called claims. And there is a sub-image called time-related claims, one of which is the delay analysis. So, with all due respect, and maybe I'm wrong, if you are going, or if anyone is going to limit himself or herself to a job description of delay analyst, so he will be focusing, which is good, on a very little portion of the general claims or the whole claims, because the claim is not only going to Primavera and doing, given that this is very important and this is a very big cornerstone of such claim. So anyways, today we are going to expand a little bit and talk, because this is a session. Again, this is not a training. This is an introductory session that includes 2 case studies and a product called the master table. We are going to come to this, but very generally, this is to manage the expectations. This is a session that will introduce some information and will direct you to some very beneficial references related to claims in general and change orders in general. So this is the claim. This is the base of what we are going to have here. And then we'll go to the introduction, and then I will start the ground rule and the content of my session. So my name is Hussam Abdurraouf Qandil. Originally, I'm a civil engineer, graduated from Ain Shams University, Cairo, Egypt. I'm Egyptian. And my graduation was in 2002. So I've been in the industry for like 25, almost 25 years working in the industry. I started as a site engineer for 9 years, 7 years. No, so 9 years, 2 of which I was overlapping between construction management and site engineering and planning and scheduling. And then I entered the project management discipline from the door of planning and scheduling, moving forward to risk management, to project controls, to claim specialist, so up to being a project controls manager. And currently I'm working with an organization in the United States called HDR. I'm a senior project controls manager managing the project in the great state of Utah. I'm based in Salt Lake City, Utah. So this is me. Moving forward again, the ground rules here, and which is very important. First of all, once I finish the ground rule, I will turn off the camera so you don't get distracted by my movement, and we can reserve some internet speed to the lecture and for those who are going to attend. We have 77. The lecture will be recorded, so you will have on the group. I'm not going to leave the group unless something went nasty. But anyways, the session will be recorded and will be shared on the WhatsApp group that we have created, and I believe everyone here is in this WhatsApp group. During the lecture, please turn your mic muted. Unless you have a question, you have freedom to stop me and ask questions related to the content, please. And then we will open. I will do my best to open like 15 minutes general questions, and then we will have the group. If you have questions related to the subject, I will be happy to answer. And actually, I'm not joining groups unless it's group related to training or group related to sessions or group like this. So I'm not in any other groups except the training groups and this group. So I will keep answering the question as much as the time allows. Maybe I will have some delays plus the time difference. So please just be patient when you ask questions in the group. For the session, again, you feel free to ask questions whenever you want to ask questions. Keep your mic muted. And the session will be recorded and dispatched. For the references, I will share, for copyright issues, I will not be able to share all the references, but most of them are available, except the books. The books are a bit expensive, but anyways, the RPs, the technical papers, I can share technical papers, but the RPs are available for those who are members in the AACEI website for free. So any RP that will be mentioned in during the training, during the session, and in the reference slide are there available. Of course, I'm talking about AACEI international recommended practice. They are there in the session in the website for those who are interested in downloading. The presentation slides will be shared, except one slide. It's copyrighted, not copyrighted. It's under non-disclosure, so it cannot be shared. It can be displayed, but it cannot be shared. Some of the material that I'm going to use today, because I'm using recent projects, so I'm still under non-disclosure. I'm faking the information, of course, and some of the materials that I'm going to share, that I'm going to present, are not allowed to be shared. So some of the time schedules I cannot share. One of the time schedule I can share, but the other one cannot be shared. So not all the materials will be shared, but what I can guarantee is the slide, one of the time schedules, and there is a master table, a very extensive project that we went through for the last 6 months. And this table is very beneficial. We'll come to this. I think it's I developed it to be beneficial, so hopefully it will be beneficial to you. So I'm going to share this table with you in a format that is not editable, image or PDF. Using the material, this is copyright note, because some unfortunate events occurred related to this ground rule. Any material that will be shared with you in the session will be highlighted either not for public share or for public share. So, for example, the presentation, the PDF presentation, is for public share, so you cannot share it anywhere. However, the table, some of the case studies narrative are not for public share, which means you cannot just post it. If, of course, I don't control your accounts, but anyways, this is a copyright issue that is under the ethical conduct of the professional ethical conduct of this group. that these material are not for public share. So you cannot post it in LinkedIn, you cannot post it in Facebook, you cannot post it in YouTube. However, for the video here, the video is not my copyright, so you can check with the organizers whether you can share it publicly or not. You cannot share it publicly, the video of this material. I think it will be shared publicly in the group, in the YouTube channel of the organizers who are TeachCamp. So this is the ground rules. If you have any questions before I turn off the camera and start the presentation, go ahead. And don't raise your hand, please. Yeah, don't use the chat or raise your hand. All what you need to do if you want to communicate with me is just turn on your mic and speak. So please, just to avoid any distraction, don't raise your hand, don't send a message in the chat. Just open the mic and speak. I hear someone speaking. Okay. So let's go to our presentation, unless we have anyone who wants to contribute or have question or comment. So let's first turn off the camera so you can see my photo now and go for the presentation. Now, I believe you can see my screen. I believe you can see my screen. It's time-related claim, and the session, not this is not again. This is not a training. This is a session. A session means that we are going to share glimpses of some examples, some principles, some notes, some personal experiences, some case studies, but we are not going to dive deep into the details of what we are doing in terms of delay analysis or time-related claim. So again, we expanded. I think someone, I think Mr. Muhammad, Muhammad's mic is open, so I'm hearing some noises, and I hope nothing will be exposed that should not be exposed. So please, again, double check if you have your mic unmuted, please mute it. Okay. Let me. I will do the job for him. No problem. So I expanded the job from delay analysis or scheduled delays claim to something called time-related claim. We have three major time-related claims. So we will have an open discussion to help handling TRC, which is time-related claim, with confidence. Moving forward, I always start with this disclaimer for every and each session or training I deliver. I start with this. كفانا الله وإياكم شر المتأكدين, which lead us to a ground rule that I forgot. I will say it after we finish with this slide. May Allah protect us from the harm of those who assert us. In applied science, or experience related or practical implementation, practical science we are handling here, nothing is certain. Yeah, certainty is sometimes comfortable, but nothing is certain here. Which means I'm introducing principles now. And I used to introduce principles back in 2018 when I started teaching delay analysis and time-related claims. And I used to present, when I was delivering PMP sessions, I stopped at 2000. I stopped on 2016. Before this, I used to introduce some principles. Some of these principles turned invalid. Some of these principles are not working anymore. Some of these principles, I myself reviewed them and find out that they are not applicable anymore. So nothing is certain. All what I'm going to introduce here is practical experience plus personal opinion. And the personal opinion can be changed, can be challenged, can be wrong, you can have better personal opinion or experience opinion or professional opinion related to the same matter, and these are two, and the two are correct, which means if I introduce an opinion, there might be another opinion that is not aligned with my opinion, and both are correct. This is the nature of applied science. So again, nothing is certain. However, we are trying our best to be accurate and be fair, especially when we are dealing with claims. Okay, so this is the meaning of the starting slide in every single session. I mean, in this slide will lead us. This slide will lead us to a ground rule, which is if someone wants to ask questions and he's not comfortable or she's not comfortable in asking in English, he can either ask in English or Arabic. I can do both. I will, if in case of Arabic, for those who are non-Arabic speakers here with us, I will translate it to English and answer in English and go on. Again, I'm trying my best to speak slowly, and I'm trying my best to use simple English. So if someone is not, but this is not mandatory for those who wants to ask question. For those who want to ask questions, to ask in English. You can ask in Arabic, and I will answer. I will translate your question and answer in English. And if it's not clear, I can answer in Arabic anywhere else. Okay, so it's just another ground rule. Let's go and see my struggle these days and talk quickly about AI versus human, and the human is me. I'm doing my best to design the slide myself for personal purposes. I want just when I design the slide, I use my mind to think about new perspectives, understand some of the complicated things related to the subject of the slide. So normally my slides sometimes goes complicated. The astonishing thing, as Hussam, which might be very wrong, I don't use AI. I don't use AI, I mean to generate things. Of course, you know that there are something called generative AI or generative AI and the general AI. We are not yet into general AI, but normally what we all use as tools, the models we are using like ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini or these kind of stuff, they are generative AI. So you ask them to generate something and it generates this something. So what I'm using here, I'm using AI for which is very beneficial, either to review the narration, the writing. So I'm using him as an technical editor. And sometime when I have a short email or something related to a job that is not a big concern, I ask him to draft emails and I rewrite these emails. But normally I don't use AI at all in generating things or answering questions, or maybe I use AI also to summarize books or highlight some paragraphs related to books, general books, and books related to my profession. But the thing is, recently in this presentation particularly, I tried to expand my usage and expand my utilization of AI. So what I've done is, this is how I listed the session outline. Introduction to facts, numbers don't lie, most of the time. This is the session outline. Claims and time-related claims definition. Okay, we will define it. Typical extension of time claim protocol, which is a process that you will see it. Case, and we will go through case studies quickly. Case study 1, what a schedule. This is the title. And case study number 2, the wise man who uses lessons learned. It's related also to case number 1. And we will introduce you to a very extensive project that we have finished, which is the master table. The master table is I think it's interesting, so I think it will be interesting for you. And then we will go quickly about the other 2 types of time-related claims, the commercial side of the time-related claims, which are the prolongation cost and the acceleration and disruption. Acceleration and disruption are the same, by the way. Not the same in terms of definition, but acceleration is a sort of disruption. And then in North America and Europe and the United Arab Emirates and Jordan, they introduced a principle in different names, so they are using different terminologies. But in North America, we call it partnering. Partnering is a method to decrease the claims, which in one of the clients I'm working with in Utah here, they have something called the partnering manual. How contractor, design builder, or progressive design builder, or even normal contractor in design bid build project, how they are going to deal with the how the contractor and the owner are going to communicate in order to minimize and handle claim in a good faith way. So this is called partnering. Again, it's a big subject, but I'm going to introduce it to you. And then one of the most important slides here is the references, which are what are the major references for now used to develop this presentation and general in the time-related claim. So when I give this to AI, he gave me this fancy, lovely, great session outline. So he defeated me in terms of highlighting the outline. So it's again the same outline. I'm just highlighting that. Yeah, we can use AI for some different things rather than reviewing our narrations. So this is again the work of AI, the work of the devil. So it's the same exactly. So I'm not going to go through it, but just you can imagine that this is Hussam and this is AI, and it's 1-0 for AI, especially when we are going to the World Cup. So numbers, this is not AI. Numbers never lie. Yeah, when in terms of number never lies, we will return again to Hussam versus AI. So this is a typical claim without numbers, without real numbers, because the numbers are changing. So the something called the Association of General Contractor of the United States, they counted the types of claims versus each other, and they found out that the extension of time claims is the most outnumbered. The disruption is the second. The unforeseen site condition is the third. The force majeure and bid document issues, the design errors in case of design bid build, are the third issue, sometime in design build even. So they gave us this one, and then AI, when I asked him to regenerate this one with the percentages, he gave me this fancy again with the references. I put the references I got the numbers and the percentages from. So he gave me this very nice presentation showing mostly the same thing, 22% plus minus. It's not exactly 22% are delay claims and EOT claims. Scope changes 18%. Differing sign condition is the 14%. Design errors is the 11%, and we will go to moderate acceleration claim and disruption. If we sum them both, it will go to high. Utility right of way, it's something related to right of way here in the US or any country. When you are building a transportation project, you need to buy some parcels, buy some commercials, buy some residential homes in order to construct your road. So we call it here right of way. I think it's the same everywhere. Even in Egypt, we used to translate it as right of way. Payment disputes, moderate, and the lower is a suspension or shutdown. And these are the lovely guys, organizations, or the lovely organization who contributed in developing this analysis: Arcadis, HKA, U.S. Department for Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, board and courts, the arbitrational courts, Construction Management Association of America, and of course the AACI International, who contributed in this lovely slide. Again, it's Hussam versus AI, and AI is 2-0 now. So it's a very beneficial slide, just showing that most of the highest number of claims is the time-related claims. So if you sum the delay analysis or the delay claims, the acceleration and disruption, and these are the three time-related claims we are going to handle and deal with in the process, you will find out that you have like 22 plus 5, 27 plus Baudry 7, 27, 34% of the claims that we are facing, contractor claims we are facing, are time-related claims. If we sum again delay claims, acceleration claims, disruption, and loss of productivity claims. These three can sum up to 35% of the 30% or more than 30% of the claims are coming from this side. So if you are dealing with these claims, and the great Jim Zak, one of the gurus of project controls and contracts, once mentioned that if you are expecting construction without claim, you may end up not constructing anything. So claims is one of the inevitables in construction. Okay, so you will have claims, you will have change orders. Your effort is not to neutralize claims, prevent claims. This will be nonsense. If you want to pay effort, you need to pay effort to either minimize claim or to set process to deal with the claims, in a fair way. Okay, and this is actually the top of, or the name of the game for this session and for the whole trainings, not only by me, by any organization. And one of the means is led by organization, and I will talk about this at the certain, to minimize claims and make it easier to deal with general claims, not only time-related claims. So if you have questions, comments until now, go ahead. Again, for those who joined after the ground rule introduction, there is no raising hand or chat. It's an open discussion. So all what you need to do to ask question is open the mic and ask the question. Okay? Open the mic to ask the question. Okay? Not open the mic to for accidentally and expose something that should not be exposed. So anyways, if there is any question, comments until here, we can go forward. So going forward, since I didn't hear any questions, going forward is something that we need to just stop by for seconds, which is we have to understand that the main model to deal with time-related claims, whether we like it or not, is the schedule. So if you don't have a good schedule, you will suffer. You will have hard times. I'm not going to say, because the case study number 1 started with that we don't have a good schedule. So we had some other options. Anyways, not just to avoid spending much time in this slide. This slide is saying simply that the schedule is the main model that you are going to use in time-related claim. So investing in having a good baseline and having consistent and regular periodic updates is one of the key aspects to have a proper and fair and acceptable, I'm not going to use the word accurate at all, acceptable quantification of the time-related claim. Either it's a delay claim, or a disruption claim, or an acceleration claim. So the schedule is it's not one of the, it's the keystone or the key aspect of any quantification of such claim. You can do it without the schedule, of course. No one can claim that you cannot do it. You can do it without even seeing the schedule. You can just sit together and agree on something. But the thing is, and this is a universal and international concept. This is not something oriented to a certain professional environment. Sometimes they sit together. We call it in Arabic قعدة عرب or قعدة عرب, and we call it in English amicable settlement. So this is something internationally. You can sit together and agree on something and put this in paper and go ahead. So my point of this slide is that saying that the schedule normally goes through a life cycle. So it starts with the strategic, go to deliverable, go to master, to go to constructability, and this is the schedule and periodic updates. These are the schedules we are talking about. You need to have a schedule at this level in an acceptable way in order to be able to evaluate or properly evaluate that and quantify the time-related claims. Moving forward, and this is we started from the middle and we are now at the top or the strategic view, not top, I mean the highest I'm saying that you are now on the bird eye view of the claims in general, not only the time related claims. Claims in general, as a definition, it's an assertion of a party's right under the contract or at law. So a party sees that he has or she has or they have a kind of right and they are asking for this right. In order to deal with this claim from the contractual aspect, you need to look for some pillars. But let's just introduce the type of claims. Normally, the type of claims like that we see in Hussam versus AI, and it's 2-0 now. So construction claims included but not limited. There are claims related to technical things, which is differing sign condition. You find something beneath the ground that was not there, or something related to the soil type or something like this. Normally, this is the most common differing side condition claims. We might have change orders, direct change order by the owner. So we may have change orders. Errors and omission. We might have errors and omission in the design if it's the design build, or even design build. You in the design build delivery method, you normally, as the owner, provide something called owner requirement. The owner requirement includes a preliminary design, like 10% or 15%, sometimes 30%, and the contractor might start based on the information. And if this information is contractual, they might have mistaken information, and this mistaken information may include or may have something. And this, in some cases, not in all cases, sometimes the contractor has the right to ask for the differing sign condition. I witnessed some cases, arbitrational cases and dispute cases, where it was design build, but the contractor referred to something wrong in the owner requirement that led the contractor to go in a certain direction, and this certain direction ended up with a claim. So not all the cases, because in design build, the design build delivery method in particular, the whole thing or the whole design is the responsibility and liability of the contractor. But there are some exceptions. Of course, contract people can argue this, and they are better in terms of experience and knowledge than myself in discussing this point. So force majeure, it's self-explanatory, something that's not expected, related to weather or related to political turbulence or pandemic. We still until now are under the discussion and under the bewilderment of whether COVID-19 was force majeure or not. And there are some studies, one of which developed by the organization I mentioned at the beginning. I might share this with you because it's a public one. The Association of General Contractors of the United States, they issued a very good study, a very nice study about COVID-19, defining it, whether it's force majeure, and they didn't answer the question at the end of the day. What we are going to deal with is the other side, the payment claim, acceleration, schedule delays, and productivity issues. These are not change orders most of the time. So if the owner delayed to provide approval or delayed to give information, this is not a change order. This is something that impacted your critical path, and this critical path or impacted your productivity, and your critical path and productivity resulted in an extension of time or a disruption. So you need to accelerate in order to bring the project back to the original date. So the thing is, and the golden rule here is, every change order will end eventually with a claim, time or money, and otherwise you will be just doing a group session therapy, saying I have a change order, you change something, and I don't want anything at the end of the day. So you are not here, you are not in a construction site, you are in this therapist, you are with the therapist. The other side, but not all claims are coming from change orders. Not all claims are coming from change orders. Some claims are coming because the owner failed to commit with his obligations or to fulfill his obligation. Failed doesn't mean he's a failure. Failed means, and this was a very nice discussion in one of the progress meeting in Cairo 5 years ago. One of the consultants used the word fail in the exact translation, which is fashal. And the contractor went mad because you are saying that I'm a loser, I'm a fashil. So the correct translation is akhfaq, which is a more smooth word in Arabic. So failure to commit with the obligation by the owner can lead to a claim, a time-related claim, especially time-related claim. So for each claim, we have to fulfill. I think some of you have seen this before. In order for each claim, generally, not time-related claims only, each claim must fulfill the 4 pillars: cause, what happened; effect, what do you want; what was the effect, time and money; entitlement, does the contract allow you to ask for this; is there a contract language that allow you or entitle the contractor to ask for the claim. Sometimes there is a hidden disclaimer or even a clear disclaimer in the project or in the contract saying that might destroy the entitlement from the foundation. But the thing is, entitlement in particular, this is the first thing we review normally. We review the entitlement and then we go forward for the delay analysis. And this is one of the common mistakes in reviewing delay analysis. I'm not saying that this is everyone is doing this, but I'm saying that it's a common mistake. And it's not a mistake, actually. I don't want to use the word mistake. There is no mistake here. There's nothing wrong here. Unless you are doing a biased analysis or you are faking an analysis, there is anything else can go. Okay? But the thing is, normally the best practices, and the best practice is something very important in dealing with these claims, and we'll come to this at the end. In some cases, or the best practice say that you need to review the entitlement before going to the XCRs and reviewing XCRs, the Primavera file, and reviewing the contractor, the delay analysis itself. Because you might not need to go for the delay analysis, or you might exclude some events before going to the delay analysis. And one of the most common entitlements, I don't know whether you have heard of this, I think most of you have heard of this. One of the most common entitlements is the notice, the claim notice. The claim notice. Sometimes the owner excludes some events because the contractor failed to provide the notice in accordance with the defined timeline in the contract. Sometimes the dispute board or the arbitrational tribunal or the arbitration tribunal disregard this timeline if the damages are major. I have seen this. I have witnessed this in some arbitrational cases. They disregarded this condition. However, in some cases, in most of the cases, and there was in one of the panels I attended last year, there was a very good lawyer talks about this issue, and they were very convincing and very clear. But in some cases, the recap of the discussion is that some cases, some arbitrations or some tribunals, some dispute boards disregard the timeline of the notes. And the last part is the substantiation. The substantiation means it's defined that every statement made or fact related upon in the claim should be substantiated from the project record. So you need to have a good project record, and you need to have a good access to this project record. So technology now is going savvy, is going very advanced. So I think if you are dealing with a big project with a big chunk of money, I think it's worth investing some money to have a technological platform or a PMIS, project management information system, that allows you to record the project records and come back to these project records when you need it. Okay, so this is generally the 4 pillars of each claim. This is generally the 4 pillars of each claim. When we come to what we are going to discuss now, we have time-related claims definition. Especially, or generally, the time-related claims are schedule delays, acceleration, and productivity issues, loss of productivity or disruption. And the three of them use the schedule as the base of their quantification. So you will review the entitlement, the substantiation, and the causes. And if you end up here, okay, and then how long, in order to calculate how much and how long, you need to go and use that schedule. So if you don't have a schedule, if you don't have a good schedule, you will end up having hard times, or you will end up having to go and sit in قعدة العرب or or go for the amicable settlement without using the schedule, which is okay. But if we are talking about millions, I think it's a good idea to have a good schedule and track the schedule, especially when for some contractors like the one we are going to see in case study number 1. With all due respect, I don't mean any any offense, and I hope no one takes this as any offense, but normally the contractor is an exaggerator by nature, not because he's a villain, but because there is a principle in negotiation called say no then negotiate, and this is actually the name of the game of one of the leaders of the most important countries in the world for the time being, without mentioning any names. But the thing is, or discussing any politics, but the thing is, say no and then negotiate, then the first bid normally comes high. So the first bid normally, and the claim is the first bid, so normally the first claim is high. So in order to be an expert, in order to have a productive discussion between you and the contractor, if you are in the owner side, I worked in both sides before, and when I worked as an expert witness in arbitration, I represented both sides. Normally the thing is, you need to have a common sense of and a logic of discussing and highlighting and discussing and tracking back what the contractor is presenting. So if the contractor is presenting that he needs 1 year and $36 million prolongation cost, the cost we are going to discuss, in the other side, the expert on the other side should discuss back and say, okay, but this 1 year quantification should go back to 7 months only, and there is a kind of concurrency that will decrease the money. And there, sorry for a mic opened, so I had to mute it. Please, guys, thank you very much for just keeping your mics muted as long as you don't ask, or you're not asking questions. So let's go back. The thing is, what I was saying, yeah, I was saying that if you have a claim of 1 year and $36 million, you can, if you are the expert on the other side who's reviewing this, and you review it, and you could find out that it's not a year. The calculation, my calculation shows that it says 7 months, and you have a logic of this calculation, and there is a concurrency that will not entitle the contractor to the whole period of year to prolongation cost. It's just 2 months, so you can decrease. And I'm telling you a story, a real life story. So you can decrease the 36 to 7 millions. So, sorry, 5 millions. So we have 7 months and 5 millions instead of 1 year and 36 millions. And the discussion ended up with 8 month extension of time and the 5 million as prolongation cost. This is the case I'm talking about. This is not case number 1, but this is a case. So imagine that you saved you saved 31 millions to your client. And this was fair, by the way, and the contractor accepted this, and you decrease the extension to 8 months instead of 1 year. So, so this had a good implication on the public, because you are opening the road to 4 months earlier. The thing is, the point is, having a good schedule allowed us, and there was a very good schedule developed by the contractor and regular updates. Having a good schedule and having contractor language that obliges the contractor to go for good schedule is very important. Again, and in any delay analysis course, I think there will be a one lecture dedicated completely to how to evaluate the schedule. And there are a lot of ways to evaluate the schedules now and go through the details of each schedule, one of which is a famous platform. I'm not marketing because this is one of the most famous platforms, and they are all mostly the same, something called Schedule Validator. This is a very good platform that it's a web-based application, and I think it's not expensive. I'm not marketing again, but I'm using this and I see that this is a good one. So any questions, comments?
Excuse me, Mr. Hussain.
Go ahead.
Can you summarize in a few points what you mean by a good schedule? And something related to float, to constraint, or
what the point is, if you ask anyone what are the good schedule, good sequence, no constraints, float tracking, extreme float tracking, duration, which is the most important. You cannot have a scheduled duration of 100 days of something called constructing a bridge. You have to have a proper level of details. You need to have good code assignments, resource assignment to track back the hours and whatever tracked by hours. There are a lot of points. I can share with you a scoring sheet that I used to use a long time ago. I can show this because this is mine. So I will share with you after the meeting a scoring sheet of the schedule, baseline and update. And I think it's a very good document. Hopefully I will be able to find it now, but I will just throw a search. And if I found it during the session, I will share it instead of scoring. Okay. I'm throwing I'll return back to this PC. I'm sure I have this one here. If not, I'm going to share it after the session. Okay, Mr. Mohammed.
Okay. Nothing like a tricky point we can focus on the schedule.
There are thousands of tricky points. The most important tricky point is a consistent critical path and a reasonable critical path, because this is what we are going to jump into in case study 1, is that there was no critical path. There was just a couple of activities out of 1,000 activities that are critical. So this is not good schedule, because what you are going to track in time delays and time and disruption and time related claims are particularly the change in critical path. This applies on the schedule and applies also in the schedule updates. The other most tricky thing is the use of constraints inside the schedule. If you are having it might give you false float. So this is something else. So it depends on the case. There is no general let me take this back. The most general tricky point is tracking the critical path and the change in critical path, because in methods like Windows analysis or something like this, you will be relying Windows analysis in particular, whether it's observational or model, you will be relying 100% on tracking the change in the critical path. So if you don't have a good critical path at the beginning that can be tracked and can be impacted by the records, you will have false or misleading. You can have false or misleading records all over the checking. But the thing is, it depends. It depends on the case. So if you are looking for a certain, each case has to be tracked individually. However, in time-related claim, particularly tracking the critical path and using the tools inside Primavera, not the Primavera tool of multiple float paths that use. It's a very beneficial tool, by the way. But the thing is, if you are using Primavera tool, I'm now talking planning talk. So if someone is lost, please forgive me. If you are using Primavera tool of separating critical path, which is the multiple float path tool in Primavera, if you run go to advanced multiple float path and you go to either total float or free float. I recommend free float, but anyways, if you are using this is a very beneficial tool, and it will give you mostly a good indication of the highest critical path. However, if you have, which is inevitable in big schedules, if you have some missing logic, some repeated logic, some logic that implemented just only to control the float, you will find out that the critical paths, especially the second and the third and the fourth, and some are repeated. So normally, if you find this repeated, sometime you will relate that this other critical path is the same critical path, but there is a missing logic that made the very stupid machine of Primavera. I'm not cursing Primavera. I'm just saying the definition of the Oracle guy who developed Primavera of Primavera. The very stupid machine of Primavera understood that this is another critical path. However, it's not another critical path. So sometimes being a good planner will force you, or being someone who's fair and want to add fairness and more reliability to the estimate, you might go and track back the critical path by go to and code this critical path and code this longest path and try to expand it. But if you don't have a schedule in the first place that has good relationship, good sequence, good and sensible logic, that this will be impossible and it will give you a hard time. Sometime in case study number 1, I had to redevelop the whole schedule from scratch to shift from a way to another way. So this is basically what came to my mind now, but I think this makes sense. Does this make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay. Let's I'm throwing the search again, but I promised you go ahead, don't raise your hand, open the mic, ask the question. There is no need to raise your hand at all. Go ahead, Inja Abdullah.
Hello, Engineer Hamad Kantil. Sorry, it will be a question. It's related to the critical path. It is how to assess the critical path. I know it's not a right lecture, but since you mentioned the critical path, and mainly critical path, it is related to the claim. So, how to assess the critical path? How to define the critical path and choose the activity to be the critical path?
You don't choose the critical path, my friend. You don't choose the critical. You create the schedule. You create the schedule and then do the CPM calculation. At that time, the schedule will show you the critical path. So you don't choose you don't direct the critical path. The critical path is something that is being calculated using your schedule. So your scheduler will go and create the critical path. Okay, sorry, create the schedule. Okay, your scheduler will go create the critical path. Are you following me? Your scheduler will go create the critical path and create the not critical path. Create the I'm sorry. Create the schedule using the sequence, go for the critical path and run the CPM calculation, and the CPM calculation will define the critical path for you. So it's not you who direct the critical path. The critical path is something that is driven by the sequence implemented to develop the schedule. So what I try to do now, what I'm trying to do now is during I'm answering this question, I'm going to share with you the scoring sheet I talked about. So I'm sharing now in the group. If you are opening the group, I think you are in the group now. I'm sharing a schedule scoring sheet that uses the project uses that is being used for evaluating the project. Of course, it's an old-fashioned sheet, Excel old-fashioned sheet. However, there are some softwares and applications now that do what this sheet does in a more efficient way. Related to the question I received now, if you didn't get the answer, I'm going to open Primavera and show the principle of critical path in minutes. So stick with me. If I didn't answer, just ask me the question again. So moving forward, just to save time, and because I have to
just one question, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so you talk about the good health or healthy schedule. Let's see, in the beginning of the project, we make a healthy schedule by following all the DCMA 14 rules. But when it comes to the implementation, we see that there is no proper communication between the project control and construction teams. So later on, during the delay analysis, how So we can say that the schedule is good or healthy.
What's the question again, please? How what?
Am I audible?
Yeah. I heard that you develop a healthy schedule and you started updating, but during the daily analysis, and then I missed.
I'm saying that during the implementation of the project, during the construction, we see that there is no proper miscommunication between the construction normally and the project control, between the construction and project control. So what we see, there are a lot of out of sequence activities. So later on, when it comes to the delay analysis, in that case, then how we can say that okay, at the start of the project, the baseline was a healthy schedule.
Yeah,
but when it comes.
Okay. So the thing is, go ahead, complete the questions, and the question I will come back to the answer now.
Yeah. So in the start, we assume or it was the healthy schedule.
Yeah, I understand this, but
yeah. So
at the
later
end,
on,
you
how
have
we can say.
How later on, of course, your question is related to how you're related to two organizations. Your organization, which is if you are a contractor and there is people who are working on site and the project controllers. So normally, the practical solution we implemented, or I watched being implemented and getting in a good way. First of all, to understand that the schedule, both sides, the owner and the contractor, they need to understand that the schedule doesn't end at the baseline. If you have the best baseline ever and you don't update, you didn't do anything. So my first point is that you are not dealing with baseline only. You are dealing with baseline, and you have to guarantee through the contract language that a proper update will be submitted every certain period that includes some criteria and includes a narrative. So this is a contractual language that will guarantee both. The other thing is the mystery or the legend of or the myth of out of sequence can be resolved if you have enough coordinators who are not the construction people. Maybe the construction people are very busy and they are not able to collect data and report properly to the owners, to the project controls from the contractor side. So normally the contractor can invest to mid-level, I'm not going to say senior, mid-level jobs called coordinator. And this coordinator's job is to collect the data, communicate with the construction people, and bring back the information to the project controls. If not, in addition, you have to understand, and you must understand, that the owner or the owner of the update, I mean not the owner of the project, the owner of the update is the contractor. So the contractor will submit a baseline including a certain construction methodology. This construction methodology can be changed or can subject to change during the construction. So there is an acceptable out of sequence and there is an unacceptable out of sequence. The unacceptable out of sequence is the one if you are assigning an actual start that's for something that's not started. If you have a straightforward finish to start and you and the first one has not finished and the second one got an actual start and move forward, these kind or in general, in not specific, whatever out of sequence that impacts the critical path calculation from the planning perspective. However, there is another out of sequence which is changing the construction methodology due to the site conditions. So if you are developing or doing the masonry work for the floors and all the floors are great and you are ready to receive the masonry, and if you are, I'm just giving a very general example, if you have planned in the baseline that you will start ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor, and this is finished to start, you sit in them, and during the project you have problems or you have some issues with the ground first and second floor, so you decided to start from the third floor. This first needs to be reflected in the update, not the baseline, reflected in the update. And this, in this case, if you do a lot of these things, the baseline will turn into comparing the contractual facts or contractual dates only. you need to change this, or you need to update this with the in the updates, in the relevant update, and this will be an out of sequence but acceptable out of sequence, because you get out of sequence to represent what's happening on the site properly, and record this in the change log and move forward as change log or the narrative and move forward. Doing this will allow you to track whatever happens and go forward, and will make your life not smooth but easier when you go to delay analysis. So granting and communication is not it's not a magic stick that someone will just give you a solution and go ahead. Contractor needs to understand that first of all, the contractor needs to understand that the project schedule is an important document. It's not just something to put on the ground, on the wall, or something just to communicate with the owner. This is a very important schedule. He will understand it, the contractor and the owner will understand either the easy way by just doing the preventive action, or when they come to a big claim. I'm not talking about claims with 1 week extension and $3,000 or $10,000 prolongation cost. I'm talking about a claim of 1 year and millions. So when they come to this one and they get in disagreement and go to the arbitration, the first thing the arbitration will ask for, where are the schedule? And I will hire my expert to validate the schedule. If the arbitrator sees that both have crappy schedule, I'm sorry for the word, have crappy schedules, and they don't, and these schedules are not qualified enough to understand the or quantify the job, he will go for a way, very famous way in arbitration called jury verdict. So he will use his experience, which might be zero in construction, to say, okay, I'm going to give a shot of jury verdict. It's just something intuitive. I'm going to just evaluate based on my conscience. I'm going to give a binding decision. So they will learn it the hard way if they go to this stage. Actually, we will come to this in the first case study, but I want just to move forward because we consumed an hour now and we have only 1 hour left. And I want to go to the case studies because the case studies are very important, and I want to introduce the master table and the other. Maybe we will take some extra time if you are not bored enough to stay. So I will maybe I will take some extra time. But anyways, let's just let's stop this question session and then move forward, and then we will stop again on a question station. Maybe in 15 minutes or something. So again, time-related claims mostly are schedule delays, acceleration, productivity issues. The schedule delays, and 3 of them are using in the 3 of them. Not there is no exception. The quantification of any of the 3 are using the schedule, the proper quantification. I'm not talking about the A'adat al-Arab or the amicable settlement. I'm talking about the proper quantification. Okay. So moving forward, the schedule delay is very straightforward. If you have a claim like, if you have something like this, you might have delays. This is the cause and this is the effects. It's just something that is very common, something is very typical. Or you might have something like this with a bit complicated, and we call this fragment. You might have some complicated delay event with disruption and project delay. In all kinds of delay, we normally go for understanding who caused the delay. If it's a contractor, he has to mitigate and submit something called recovery schedule. And I will stop here and highlight the questions that I'm always receiving. The question is, and again, the whole thing here is inspired by thousands of questions I'm receiving on a daily basis. Again, so a contractor is asking, Hussam, what if I'm in a good term with the owner, and they are having lunch every day together, and they are in love, and I don't mean in the romantic way, but they are in a very good and strong and comfortable relationship. Okay, and I'm facing delays with every update I'm making every 2 weeks or a month, and the owner is talking to my project manager, and he's asking him, we have top management in the progress meeting, so whenever you have a delay, recover this delay, show always that the schedule is on track and the variance is 0. I'm not talking about the internal variance. I'm talking interim variance. I'm talking about the project variance is 0. So you do this and you resubmit the schedule. You submit the schedule with the delays, and then he talks to your project manager, and the project manager talks to you, and you do this and you submit this. Well, and you don't mention anything except that we recovered the delays. Even if the disaster comes when the delays are attributed to the owner, and you are doing this, and you keep doing this for like 6-7 months, and all of a sudden the schedule exploded and you are unable to recover these delays. So you issue an extension of time. So you broke both your project manager and the owner project manager's heart, and the project manager of the owner saying, okay, but you have submitted 7 schedules saying that you are not delayed, and there is no delay here, so you are not entitled to the extension of time. These delays are not coming all of a sudden. You have kept saying that you are not delayed until a certain point that you are asking for an extension of time, and unfortunately he is right. So you will lose your right if you do this. So what's the solution? Okay, contractually, I asked one of my contractual gurus to validate this, and I have some contractual experience as well that allows me to answer this question. I may not be able to answer other questions, but this question is yes. Have I lost my right? Yeah, you have lost your right to ask for extension of time, because you have officially notified the owner that you are not delayed for 6 months, and all of a sudden you are asking for a year of extension of time. So what's the solution? The solution is, if you are doing the mitigation or doing the recovery update, and it's called recovery update, not revised schedule. This is a recovery update, and this overrides the original update. If you are doing the recovery update and you know that there are some non-logic issues in the recovery, you have to highlight in the narrative or in a cover letter or in anything that this is subject to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Otherwise, we will return to the original schedule, and this window will record this amount of delay. So this is a very crucial point that comes to me here. If the employer is the responsible for the delay, we will identify, collect delays, quantification of delays, and quantify the delay duration, the impact, and go for the claim. So moving forward, delays, we have the excusable, which is what we are dealing with in claims. Inexcusable, sometimes they say non-excusable, which both are correct. This is the contractor delays that are not compensable, not excusable, and may subject the contractor to delay damages. And the pacing delay, of course, the pacing delay is something that is totally out of the subject of this session. However, it's important. Just go read for the pacing delay. It's a nice one. If it's compensable, if it's excusable, it's either compensable, so you will pay something called prolongation cost. We'll come to this, or non-compensable, which is the concurrent delay. If there is nothing in the contract highlighting how to calculate the concurrency again is not meant to determine extension of time or to play with the entitlement to the extension of time. The concurrency job, they invented the concurrency to determine the part that is compensable and the part is not compensable, unless the contract specify otherwise. So sometime, if you don't have delay precedence concept, if you don't have ownership of the float concept in your contract, which will direct the concurrency to impact the number of days, I mean in terms of extension of time, that the contractor is entitled to, then the general case, not the specific case, the general case is that the concurrency is to determine the compensable, non-compensable period. And of course, the non-concurrent, they put sometime sometimes they put the force majeure and the weather as non-concurrent. Okay, so I hope things are moving forward properly, because we are going to jump into this process quickly, and then we'll go to the case study. Let's first have a couple of minutes break, 2 minutes break. Let's say 5 minutes break, because I've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes now. After this slide, not now, after this slide, we'll take 5 minutes break, and then we'll go to the case study. Let's just go through quickly this presentation, because also I want to just arrange something or discuss something with the organizers in terms of sharing something. Have they shared the presentation with you yet? Can somebody answer me, please? Have they shared the presentation with you yet?
No, not so far.
Okay. Okay. That's great. So please hold sharing until the after the. Don't share anything for now, because I need just to make a certain modification to the presentation before sharing. So please, organizers, please don't share the presentation. You may need to wait for 5 minutes after the finishing after the end of the session before sharing the presentation. So give me, once we end the session, give me 10 minutes. I will do a small modification in the presentation, send it back to you, and you can share it with everyone. Please, thank you very much. So let's go quickly. Develop extension of time claim. Normally, when we are dealing with an extension of time claim or time-related claim, normally we have two parties: the claimant and the respondent. The claimant is the contractor, or whoever is, or the subcontractor to the contractor, and the respondent is the owner. The liability of both are like this. Normally, the extension of time starts with collect data and issue claim notice by the contractor. The blue line or the blue lines are related to contractor. Develop the event and contractual entitlement. Develop contractual substantiation. Develop the delay and concurrency analysis, if any. Normally, the contractors don't do concurrent analysis or concurrent delay analysis, because they believe that they are entitled to every day of the extension of time as compensable delay, which is okay. I have no problem with this if this is correct. Okay, develop the delay and concurrency analysis, quantification of compensation based on the prolongation cost related to the extension of time, and then review and submit the claim. Submit the claim, it will go to the gray part, which is the respondent, the owner. The owner reviews and reviews the contractual entitlement, review event substantiation. This is the first step, the typical first step of any owner dealing with a time-related claim. If it's okay, he will go. If there is no substantiation and no entitlement, he will return back the claim to be revised and resubmit. If yes, he will review the delay analysis. This is the typical. Review concurrency for compensation quantification to evaluate the compensation, evaluate the prolongation cost, and then provide determination and discussion with the contractor. Normally, in most of the contracts, if you are dealing with FedEx, if you are dealing with any template, actually, in dealing with templates all over the world, I found out, or I discovered that most of the templates are the same, are taken from each other, but they are using different methodologies. So the general condition and particulars in FedEx are blue text and black text and blue text in the governmental contracts I'm dealing with here in Utah. And they called another thing in the AI American Institute of Architects contract. And it's mostly the same in ICE, the UK one. And it's mostly the same in the JCT, the other UK type of contract. This type of contract, these are templates like the FedEx, but these templates are using mostly the same thing. So in most of the contracts, most of the templates, they are saying before the owner issues his determination, he needs to conduct, in FedEx, they call it consultation meeting. In here, they call it here in the blue text, the template here, collaboration meeting. They need to present, the owner needs to present his determination and his justification of his determination to the contractor before issuing the final determination. The contractor accepts or not, this is something else, but the owner needs to explain and answer the questions of the contractor related to his counter analysis, and we call it counter analysis. Okay, and I'm receiving a question here. I'm going to this question, but before, if yes, we will develop the revised baseline, and here is a revised baseline when we have an extension of time granted, and then the contractor accepts the determination. In this case, if the contractor accepts the determination, if not, he will go and contractor rejects the determination, he will go for litigation board or dispute resolution or dispute or whatever dispute escalation ladder defined in the contract, dispute resolution mechanism defined in the contract. So the thing is, this is the typical process of dealing with a time-related claim. This is inspired by the contracts, or most of the contract templates I dealt with. Normally, we have a question here. The question is which is coming: can the owner reject the method the contractor is using in delay analysis and say revise and resubmit? The answer is, if the contract is silent, he cannot do this. But if the contractor is using a method that is not accurate, like as planned versus as built, one shot, or any other methods, that when I explain this, I normally say, in using the RP terminology, that there are three methods that you need to justify why are you using them if you are using them. MIP 3.1, which is the as planned versus as built one shot. 3.6, MIP 3.6, which is the impact as planned, or MIP 3.5, where you develop the baseline, where you as the analyst develop the baseline and the update and disregard the current, if any, schedules available in the project. So you need, if the contractor uses one of those three without a proper justification, because they are not either not accurate or weird, like the 3.5, the owner can reject the method. Otherwise, he cannot, unless the contract is specifying a certain method. So otherwise, he cannot. Fine. What if the owner is not satisfied by the method the contractor used, and there is nothing in the contract obliges the contractor to use a certain method? The owner will do a counter analysis. Owner, in the best practice, the owner should do a counter analysis. Counter analysis means that he goes and do his own analysis and present it to the contractor. The other thing is, or the other thing is, when it comes to concurrency, normally the difference or the difference of opinion is coming in the concurrency part. So this is a question that I'm receiving a lot. What if the owner rejects the contractor method? Again, I hope I answered this question in general. So in our case studies, we will go for the notice, the method, the schedule. And on the other side, we will talk about the analyst. What can he do? What he cannot do? And how is it acceptable to go for a settlement if not received? Let's just take 5 minutes and go through the rest of our presentation. I'm expecting to extend for 15 minutes for those who are planning something else. I'm still at the beginning of the day, so I'm planning to get into more 15 minutes plus the 2 hours planned for this session. So let's just have 5 minutes off for those who want to refresh, use the bathroom, use whatever they want, and then we will be back sharp at 11:30, 8:30 Egypt time. So we will be back in 5 minutes sharp, please. Okay. So I just want you at this point to refresh your mind, because I'm going to quickly jump into 2 case studies and discuss the master table, and I want some fresh minds when we discuss these issues. So let's have 5 minutes sharp and get back. We are back, and we lost like 12 persons. Hopefully not for feeling bored. I will go through 2 case studies. Of course, I will. I hope you can hear me now. You can hear me well. So I opened the mic and I'm explaining now. I'm back. So let's just drop a message in the group. We are back. I'm just dropping the message on the group so everyone knows that we are back. Okay. I have two case studies. I'm not going to read them in details because I want to complete the presentation and go to the master table. And the two case studies have one thing in common, which is the two projects were managed by the same project manager. So he learned something. That's why I'm saying that the second project is the wise man decision, or the man who learned from his lessons learned. Okay, so the case study number one is, again, case study number one, what a schedule. And this was related to one of the questions I received during the session, talking about how the schedule is not acceptable, although we have a very good baseline. In this case, the baseline was not very good, but it was accepted, and there were no updates. So this is the case number one. The case, of course, I cannot share this. This is the project. The project, don't try to understand what's this. This is an intersection, and this is the general layout of the project. They were just doing a big interchange with some road widening and utility and systems installation. So it was a bit complicated project, not long project. I think it was like a year, and it was not too expensive. It was like $50 million, which is not a big project in terms of big projects in terms of transportation discipline. So this is a layout of the project. Of course, I cannot share this because it's under copyright. So again, the notice, the method, the schedule, the analyst, what he can do, what he cannot do at the settlement. Just remember this song: the notice, the method, the schedule, the analyst, the settlement, by the order of precedence. Okay. Before seeing the figures, let's just open a PDF which will be shared with you of case study one. Of course, there is no time, and no one will bear reading every single word of these case studies. So this will be shared with you, the case study description. What is this schedule? The background, just the only part I'm going to read. The project consists of a short duration intersection widening and enhancement project with an original contract duration of 12 weeks, 12 calendars month, 12 months, a year, and the contractual end last April. So this is the project. This is our project. Okay. What happened at the end of the project? There was the project. The contractor submitted a baseline, which was okay, showing all the concepts, or showing all the contractual milestones. He moved forward, start construction. He never submits an update. He has never submitted an update. Again, he kept moving forward without submitting any updates. And all of a sudden, 2 months before February 2026, 2 months before the project end, he submitted a claim with the principle of Hail Mary claim. Hail Mary claim means what? The contractor is suffering losses, so he's putting together all his losses in one document and saying this is to the owner, and throw it to the owner. He throw to the owner a claim that he needs 2-month extension to end of June because of the owner RFI late reply, and the reply included a change order, and he wants the full duration as prolongation cost. Okay, so this is terminology called Hail Mary claim. And he used a method called as planned versus as built. So again, let's go back to the presentation. Before showing the figure, let's just define the method the contractor used. He has the baseline, and he developed a recent update as part of the claim. So from the beginning of the project, 1 year back, April 2025, until February 26, he hasn't submitted any updates. So he created an update as of February 2026. So he has now one baseline, one update. He put them together, compare, and he attributed the delay encountered to the owner and saying that this 2 month equal overheads X, and I want this X, and I want this 2 months. Okay. So he used this method. Let's just go to the RP. I don't know whether you are familiar with this or not. We will start showing some new figures here. So just try to be a bit focused. So here he didn't insert any fraglets. He used a retrospective, of course, retrospective because the events are done. Observational, and he went to 3.1. This one. So he went, which is as planned versus as built. This one is, and this is my terminology, is a one-shot comparison. In terms of comparing or the methods available for delay analysis, we have either one-shot comparison, which compares one program versus one program, as planned versus as built, which are 3.1, and the time impact analysis, case 1 of 3.7 and 3.6. 3.6 is the impact as planned. 3.1 is the as planned versus as built. 3.7 case 1, which is the retrospective time impact analysis, the classic time impact analysis, but with actual, and of course the prospective time impact analysis. These methods are comparing one program versus one program. And there, the other type is the multiple base comparison, which compares Windows, and uses the baseline only as the start point. So these three, the one versus one, the one-shot comparison, uses the baseline versus one update. So the baseline is mandatory here, or very important here. The multiple case or multiple base comparison, which are all sort of Windows analysis, are using the baseline as the start, and start comparing one versus one versus one versus one. Windows versus Windows versus Windows versus Windows. Of course, there is no time and there is no mind to go through all this because this is a 50 hours training session, program, not my training, if anyone trainings, but this is a very extensive explanation. But this is in nutshell. We have either comparing one versus one or cumulating this performance periods and isolating every period and getting for every period the compensable and non-compensable delay. So the thing is, we have, if we are going to classify it aside from the observational model and retrospective prospective, we'll say, okay, some methods are comparing one shot, one versus one program versus one, and the other one is comparing the other performance period versus the previous performance period, and isolating each performance period and getting the compensable and non-compensable for each one. So the contractor here uses 3.1 baseline versus update, and attributing everything to the owner. Okay, so this is the method. Before getting to the second one, if I'm going fast or something, let me know. The question is, what are the first question are I have already answered. What are the as planned versus as built? I explained as planned versus as built, and I'm highlighting here the single shot analysis versus multiple shot analysis. Okay, so what's the meant of single shot analysis versus multiple shot analysis, which is not the one used here. Of course, 3.8, which is the collapsed as built or the as planned but for or as built but for, is a totally different animal. We are talking about this. So the owner initiative in the case, he hired an expert, which was me, supposing I'm an expert. So on February 16th, he hired me as a consultant, and I started evaluating. My conclusion that the schedules are creepy. The methods, creepy means, let me take this word back. The schedule are not adequate. The two schedules are not adequate, and there are some. I will share with you that one of the shared items. What I'm going to share is the evaluation of the schedule, and you will find out that there is huge issues, major issues in the both schedule, the baseline and so the schedules cannot be used to quantify the method. He selected a method that is not okay, and there is a doubt whether he could or he succeeded to provide the proper notice or not in following the proper timeline of the project. So we visited this, and we came to the two below conclusions. And these are the main scenarios, and these are the main scenarios when we are dealing with the notice issue. The first scenario, some people are saying no, if he failed to submit the notice in a proper time, and this is I received this question a lot, he will lose his right to claim. The other method is when we review the records, we find out that during one of the progress meeting, the contractor notified that there is a delay, and this meeting was formalized and submitted. So in most of the cases, following the faith concept, we accept this. We accept this as a notice, to serve as a notice, and we go forward. So if we are dealing with a contractor who provided the notice implied in a minutes of meeting or an email, in good faith way, even if the contract is defining this notice as it must be a letter, as it's a must be letter, most of the time actually, in good faith, that I'm as an owner, the purpose of the notice has been fulfilled, which is making me aware. So if I receive this in a minutes of meeting or an email or even a site notice that got formalized, presuming good faith, in most of the cases this is accepted. So, and this was the case here. So we find some doubts, we check the records, we find out that he has provided the notice in a minutes of meeting, so we consider this as serving as a notice. So the detailed claim, there is no detailed request. The claim was not submitted, and this is a funny thing, the claim was not submitted as a claim, it was submitted as part of the narrative, and this was the first round review of the owner. This was sent back to the contractor, and the contractor said, okay, this is my right, I'm not going to do anything else, there's nothing in the contract obliges me to any other method. And the problem here is that this claim required extension of a couple of months and like $10 million extra money. The big problem was that the owner is the city council or the city, like the governorate in Egypt, al-Muhafza in Egypt, or the state in the state, or it's a governmental entity that has very high budget limitation and very strict commitment to the public. So if they go to the public and say, we will keep this road closed for another couple of months, the mayor may lose his election, may lose his second election. And mayor losing the election in proper democratic countries, which means, and this doesn't mean that the US is a proper democratic countries, but in countries that are dealing with officials as employed and being paid by the public, the thing is, it's a big deal, because if the mayor loses his job in the second election, all the officials in all the city will lose their jobs as well, and many people will left unemployed. The thing is, this is a big deal, regardless what my silly note, but this is a big deal. And 10 million, and the biggest deal is that there are no extra 10 millions. There are no extra 10 millions for this project. So the owner needs first to reply to the contractor with a counter analysis. Second, to justify to the public and to the top management, why do we need extra 2 months and why do we need money? So he needed a good analysis. The good analysis was to develop, if you go through the rest of the job, the good analysis that we went to 3.8. We took the site records and we developed that. By the way, the original schedule wasn't Microsoft project. So the schedule I used to evaluate in the first place was my Microsoft project. What I've done is I created this schedule. I hope you can see Primavera now. So I created this schedule. This schedule is I took the site records done by the construction manager and I developed an as-built schedule. An as-built schedule. So this is an as-built schedule, capturing all the delays of the owner and all the delays of the contractor. So the owner, I put all the I created a schedule that is capturing using the project record. So I got a big Excel sheet. I went through the schedule one by one, calculating the dates and developed an as-built schedule. But the as-built schedule here, using the actual record, but it's as if it's a planned schedule. So there is no A here. There is no 100% finished here. These dates are actual. This is what actually happened. This activity started on February 2nd and finished on February 6th. Actually, however, these are not actual because I want an undisturbed CPM calculation. So I created this schedule capturing what happened actually on site, and we find out that the project, according to this, will finish on July 3rd. And then, of course, I'm not, again, this is not a training session. This is just explanation of what happened. This is the 29th May after removing the owner's delay. So once I removed all the owner delay, the critical path or the longest path shifted to another one to finishing on May 22nd. May 29th. The conclusion was, and you will have this report, the conclusion was that the owner is the driving delay and he has a delay up to July 3rd. However, the contractor has a concurrent path, and this was concurrent. This is not the same path. This was concurrent. The contractor has a concurrent path that finishes on the May 29th. So if we want to present the final determination of the owner that was provided to the contractor, we told the contractor that we have taken all the official record of the project, and we found out that this is the completion date. There was owner delays here that has driven the date to July 3rd, and there were some other contractor attributed delay that has that has driven the delay to May 29th. Okay, so you are entitled to this extension, and you are entitled only to this compensation, the non-concurrent. And we revised the whole calculation based on this. This and other measures or other observation led us to this figure. This figure distributes, and I will open the most important document of this session. Hopefully, I'm sorry it was a bit late, but we opened this one. This led us to classification of the methods using a categorization of small project, medium size, large size, accuracy, effort of the analysis required from low to high, and accuracy and reliability of the result from low to high. If you notice here, of course, this is the back end of developing this figure is a bit complicated. So it will take 100. It took us 6 months to come up with the coming documents. So the thing is, this is based on other measures, and this all what you see here are based on observation from hundreds of projects. So the thing is, this might change, might be updated. This might be a point of view based on the researcher who developed this one, and it's not researchers, it's just me. So the thing is, this is an allocation of the methods based on the simplicity of the project and the reliability of the accuracy and the effort required. So 3.1, the one developed by the contractor, is this level of accuracy, this level of effort, and it is efficient for small and simple projects. What we have used is this one. However, we used it for what can be used for complicated project can be used for simple project, but not vice versa. So we went to 3.8, which is high accuracy, because we need to communicate and explain, and the challenging was that the other challenge was to explain this to non-specialized people in delay and delay claims. So the thing is, we went to 3.8, which is higher accuracy and higher reliability, in order to be able to justify what we have done. The thing is, and one of my dreams was to develop a master table that captures all the information, or at least most of the information related to the methods that are being used for delay analysis. So we have very reliable references like the RPs or the Association or American Society of Civil Engineers, or many other. And actually I have witnessed some trial to develop such table, but it was very summarized. So I wanted to, as a dream, to develop a table that is collecting all the methods and giving some information about each method, so it is the comparison when the analyst is going and investigating which method is more appropriate, and evaluates what, if he receives a claim from the contractor, evaluate what is the level of satisfaction this method satisfies his or his fiction, or his worries, or his requirement of accuracy or reliability of the results that are coming from or going to be used to give the determination of the claim. The point is, I will show you this table. I will show you the product now, and it will be shared with you after the meeting, after the session. But the thing is, or the point is, the second step was to invent a scoring system to help analysts choose the method. This is still an ongoing method, or an ongoing effort. It's not yet finished. It's ongoing, and it will be finished soon. But the thing is, there was an American Indian friend who wrote a paper in the Association for Advancement of Cost Engineers annual meeting, inventing a good scoring system, or developing a good scoring system for the methods, but he uses the SCL. He directed mostly his effort to classify and evaluate the methods based on the SCL, delay and disruption protocol. Normally, I'm tending more to the RP, and I'm working on another scoring system, but his scoring system is magnificent, and I will share this technical paper. It's, if you have the green book, not the Gaddafi one, but the green book saying that construction claims, the construction delay and disruption claims, there is a very famous book. It's 1,400 pages. Because of the importance of this paper, they put it as appendices in this book. So if you have this book, you will find it. You will have it. I have it as a hard copy, unfortunately. But and if it's a PDF, it's illegal and unethical to share it. But anyways, this book, at the end of the book, but I have the paper and it's eligible. It's okay to share it, I think, yeah, because it's an old one and it's available in public. I'm not sure, but I think it's okay to share this paper. So I'm going to share this paper, and once I finish the system, I'm going to share it with you. But we are not in the system now. This is an evaluation of the method, and this is the table I'm talking about. This table, it's a huge table. You see, this is the big table. And of course, I'm not going to go through the table, but the thing is, you have here the methods, 3.1 with the common name, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.7 case 1 and case 2, 3.8, 3.9. And in the vertical one, we have important project information, methods, and application. Do you need yes or no? Do you need these for the methods? So for each method in the matrix, you will be having an indication of whether you need this information or not. Models comparison. Is it a single shot or multiple shot? Okay. This is the criteria. This is a summary of each method, a summary for each method. Delay event definition. How we define the delay, identification, collecting delay. How would we do this? A quantification of delay duration, delay event being updated with progress, no progress. It will be oriented to each method, and then we have something called used models schedule. Baseline, the progress update, modified can be used or cannot be used. So you will find this, what methods, what models are being used. Analysis mandatory requirement, what the analysis cannot go without. So for each method there is one. Summary analysis process. So the analysis process summary is here. And this is one of the most important one, and this is based on statistics coming from other projects. Analysis result reliability, accuracy, analysis best fit, what are the projects that are okay with this analysis, ability to be implemented for disruption claims, if not applicable or not applicable, and contractual challenges, what are the main challenges for each method. So, and this is what we are working on now. This is the scoring, but this is something that this is an effort that is still ongoing. This is the table, and I have to thank the organizers, and they help in the design, but the content has taken like 6 months to be developed, and hopefully this will be beneficial to you. It will be shared, and this is guys, it will be eventually publicly shared, but the thing is, this is not to be used for gaining money. So if someone is delivering a training, he's, of course, I'm sure his training will be magnificent, and it will be super beneficial, but don't use this to earn money, because this is meant to be free and shared with everyone. So it will be shared with you, of course, not in Excel, but it will be shared in PDF. You might have some challenges printing it, because that's a big one. So I recommend to print it in an A1 big sheet and put it on the wall, because if you print it in A3 even, it will not be it will give you a hard time, especially if you are like me, 47 years old. It will give you some hard time to read it. So this is the table that defines and this was inspired by all these things. So this is the summary of the single shot, the 3.1 and the 3.6, and the prospective and retrospective time impact analysis. This is the single shot I talked about, and this is a funny figure showing the interaction and what are in common between each methods. And when I used AI to regenerate the interaction and overlaps between methods, he didn't make it right, so I win. So it's 2-1 now for the master table. I opted, and the example, we have shown the case study, and AI scored the third goal by summarizing this case study number 1, what happened and what we have reached at the end. Case study number 2, I'm not going to, I will leave it to your reading, but I'm going to go through it quickly. The same project manager, because this will introduce another concept related to the multiple tests or multiple shots comparison, because I want to go to the commercial. This will be the final 15 minutes. The WISE PM, the WISE project manager, he added the same project manager was assigned to another project, and this was the project. It's a big one, medical facility, energy, central energy planet hospital. It's a medical facility, and he suggested some languages to oblige the contractor in the contract, to oblige the contractor to go to a certain method that is desired by the project manager for better accuracy and desired by the owner for better justification. So he developed the language, and I don't remember who asked the question about the quality of the program. He added in the contract language a requirement to have or develop the baseline of the update based on an international the most strict standards for developing the schedule. And this is the GIO. It's Government Association Office of the United States. So actually, this can be provided. I can show you this standard, or I can share this standard with you. But the thing is, he added the contractual language. The contractor shall submit baseline schedule for review and acceptance within the time specified in the contract. The baseline schedule must be developed in accordance with the requirement of the contract, the contract and JAO schedule assessment guide. This is including at minimum the principle complete, well established, credible, and so he And he added another part saying that I'm not going to issue any payments until you get the first payment will not be issued until having this schedule accepted. And he directed also the contractor to a specified method showing that the contract specified delay analysis method, and he added the language showing that gyro schedule blah, blah, and the schedule update must, he's talking about the schedule update must identify and model known potential delays events and the raised blah 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 blah. So he obliged the contractor to record the fragments during the updates, and this is a method. You can just go through the help thing. Although the contractor, Mr. Ilyas, although the PM added all this, the contract language and blah blah blah. What really happened? The contractor submitted baseline schedule, obtained the acceptance, and regularly provided the monthly update and supporting narrative in accordance with the contract requirement. Nevertheless, a significant extension of time and compensation claim developed during the project, leading the dispute to interrupt. The contractor got terminated for a reason. This is what happened, or what really happened. That this demonstrates that compliance with the schedule submission requirement alone does not eliminate the potential of delay claims and disputes. Both parties hired an expert to analyze, and I will provide you with a report coming from both experts. The point is, or the point I'm trying to explain, or the coming from this one, this is the wise one, this is the project, and the note again, the notice, it's okay, the method was okay, and the schedule was perfect. The analyst did his job, but there was a requirement of settlement, and actually they come up with an amicable settlement after spending a lot of money with for the lawyers. This is the concept of multiple base or multiple slice selection. We go through each one, and this is the interaction and the master table. And again, the AI thinking, it's 4.1 now. The AI generated this as a summary of whatever. So before going to the commercial, I want to explain something that might be a bit weird for those who are working as analysts here. I know some people got bored and left, but hopefully I will stay for another 15 minutes only, explaining some concepts related to the commercial. But before going to the commercial, there is a method that is very common in North America, Canada, and the United States, and I've seen it in Qatar, which is you have the baseline. This is the baseline. And you have update 1, update 2, update 3, update 4, update 5. Okay? And of course, there is a time for completion. The method is, regardless the nomenclature of the method, regardless what we call this method, some contractors and some owner accepts that when the contractor updates this performance periods and he has some delay events here, he includes the delay event in the regular update. It's not an extension of time. He includes the fragment here and go forward and update and deal with the fragment in the next update as part of the schedule. So this will have X and Y, excusable, non-excusable delay, and it will result in excusable, non-excusable for this period. And then he moves. He keep updating this and keep updating the other one and have R2 and have X and Y for this period. And he keeps adding fragments, and get the X and Y for each one, so that once there is an extension of time and final claim, he just sum up the X, sum up the Y, and ask for whatever he needs. Of course, this is a bit compromised in accuracy, the last step, but the thing is, some contractors, some owners are willing to accept this. What we call this one, some are, and this is a philosophical debate that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense to waste time explaining it, but it's an academic valid discussion. Some people are calling it 3.7 or modeled retrospective, because we are accumulating progress on the fragments. Some people are calling it retrospective, modeled multiple pace, additive multiple pace, which is 3.7 case 2/2 or method 2. Okay, Some people are calling it 3.4, which is the observational dynamic logic contemporaneous update split. Some people are calling it MIP 3.5, which is observational observational dynamic logic reconstructed or modified. So anyways, some people are accepting this, and this is the result of the claim for this project particularly. So we have the buildings, and he's dealing, this is the baseline, he is dealing with each window. So this is the window, he's dealing with each window as a separate window, and he's adding the fragments. So in window number in performance period number 1, which is represented by update MN4, there was 27 days delay in the garage and hospital. This is part of the project, and he analyze and or identify the critical path delays here, and he identifies the project delay here. If you notice here the schedule activity number, that the schedule activity number is increasing. So it's 1,342, 1,399, 15, and each one of those, the analyst from the contractor side or from the owner side, he's highlighting the dates, the delays in this period only. So the 150 is the delays in this period only, and still identify whether this is excusable or non-excusable. So in case number 2, this was the table based on the concept I have just presented. I presented the concept that the owner accepted, but the owner must accept this. The owner accepted that we will follow this method in updating. We will add the delay events or the change orders or whatever delay events that are ongoing in my weekly or monthly or whatever update, and I'm going to move forward until we reach a point we need a claim. We will not be in need to go back and do any other analysis, because we already have our analysis and we already have our tracking system or tracking of the job. So this is actually highlighting both parties. I can share this with you, but this is again not for public share, please, not for public share. So this is, of course, this is again, this is a personal obligation. I cannot control anyone's willing to share or not to share, but I'm saying that this is not for public share. Anyways, this is the case number 2 thing. I will provide you the case summary. So the case summary here is just to read through it, and I will provide you the 2 reports provided by the 2 experts in both sides, the contractor and the owner, in PDF, and this is also not for public share. This is also not for public means you can share it with your friends. Of course, you're not going to share it with your friends who are working as an accountant. You're going to share it with a friend who is interested in this, but not to be posted in LinkedIn or Facebook or any kind of social media. So this is the thing. You will have both. I think I have already included the contractor summary, both executive summaries in here. So this the contractor export for the contractor. So this is the export from the contractor report, and this is the export for the owner report, and this is the executive summary for both. And I will share with you the reports for both this side and this side. Going quickly to we will delay the questions to
Excuse me,
later.
can I ask a question?
Oh, of course.
I want to ask about the latest method you shared, adding fragments into the project update. Can you tell us about more about pros and cons of this method?
The pros.
It's easier to differentiate between the employer delay event and the contractor delay event, or the contractor delay will be absorbed with the fragment and the delay event from the employer.
Well, first of all, you need to implement something that differentiates a code. So if you are adding fragment, you have to, for each update, and this is one of the pros. The pros of this one is that you're not dealing with a big animal of like 12 windows and dealing with them and trying to segregate. You are dealing with every performance period at the time. So if you are whatever you are doing, you are accumulating, and this is one of the major pros, that whatever you are doing, you are accumulating. So what you are going to do in the first period will move with you in the second period, and whatever you are going to in the second period, you will move with you in the third period. So you are creating like a comprehensive update that captures what's happening first. So in terms of differentiating, you need to invent a code or something that differentiates between two. And actually we normally differentiates one. So we differentiate, we code the owner delays. So what else is contractor delay. And this is actually one of the pros also, is that it allows something called the but-for. So if you are in bewilderment of, or you are not, if you are not sure about whether this is a contractor, you can just delete at the certain point, at the certain period, you can delete one and the remaining will be the other. The other thing is it captures the change and the acceptable out of sequence in each one and cumulate this to the project in real time, not in retrospective time. So if you are joining the project 12 months after a project and you are required to do a delay analysis, you will be searching in a big document. But if you are doing this one by one, this will never matter. The cons is most of the owners are not accepting this. This is one of the cons, because it disturbs, or it gives an image that is not familiar to people. This is not a perfect one, and also this one is subject to it's somehow it's a self-resolving process, but the thing is sometimes it's subject to manipulation. All methods are subject to manipulation, but this one in particular is highly subject to manipulation by the one who's updating this. So normally the contractor might jack up, exaggerate يعني, might jack up the impact at the beginning and keep this impact and not changing it while progressing. I'm returning to the pros again. The pros is that you are progressing the event. So and this solved a very big problem with me in one of the claims that I was dealing with, that the contractor included the rejection of his submission of a change order as part of the delay, as part of the fragment. So the owner issued a change order and the contractor submitted a technical, so it's a fragment, there's a fragment, and the owner issued a change order, and the contractor submitted a technical submission for this change order, and this submission was not technically valid. So the owner rejected this submission and the contractor resubmitted, and the contractor, while developing the fragment, and this is one of the method also, that you may keep developing the fragment, you may add activities to the fragment. But in this case, the contractor included the resubmission because of his bad submission as part of the delay analysis. So when I was reviewing this one, I could isolate this, so he will not get the full impact of the full fragment. I can just revise and deal with this period. And if this period if the period is generating like 60 days of delay due to the resubmission, so this 60 days not to the contractor. This cannot be, the contractor is not entitled to the 60 days, so I'm not going to add it to the sum up, and vice versa. I think if you read the table and read the report, I think this will be beneficial also to shed light or more pros and cons. The main con is that the owner is a bit cautious about this. It is highly subject to manipulation, and this is actually two major cons about this, because normally if you are implementing a method that and the owner is not accepting you to go with the method, this will be irrelevant in the first place. So let me just we are exceeding the time, so are you bored, or can I continue for another 10 minutes? If you have any other commitments, I can. The loyal 55 are still here, so if you are willing to continue, you are free. I will continue for another 10 minutes just to highlight some things related to our I'm not going to explain the partnering. You can read it, but the thing is, I have to highlight some important things related to acceleration and productivity issues. So if we are dealing with acceleration and loss of productivity, there is a very important, and this is actually the main thing I want to get to. If you are dealing with a prolongation cost, and this is a question that I'm receiving a lot, means a lot. So the prolongation cost, gentlemen, ladies, if we have ladies, we have a lot of ladies. So ladies and gentlemen, the prolongation cost is a question that is being repeated frequently, and people are mixing between the prolongation cost and the change order direct cost and the disruption cost. Let's just define the prolongation cost. The prolongation cost is the indirect cost, the overheads that the contractor endures due to staying on site for more time, for an extra month. So if we have an extension of time of month, this has nothing to do with the cost of the change order itself that caused the issue, or the extra hours or extra shifts the contractor implemented as a mitigation to a disruption or for the purpose of acceleration. Prolongation cost is a totally oriented cost to the period of time the contractor has to stay on site more than or beyond the time for completion. So, as an example, if we are having a variation order, this is a straightforward example, and this variation order has direct cost, which means you have, in a pure straightforward example, if you are contracted to buy 3 air handling units and the owner asks you to buy a 4th one, it's a change order that will require procurement, blah, 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 blah. But the cost of the extra air handling unit is a direct cost that you will have to pay as the owner. So the direct cost of the VO or the change order, in North America, they don't understand what's the meaning of variation order. They call it change order, which is okay. It's the same. But the thing is, so it's VOCO, change order, variation order. So the thing is that direct cost, this will be paid anyways. But if this change order, the extra air handling units, caused impact on the critical or longest path, and there is no concurrency, this is an extension of time, and there is no concurrency, this will result in, and there is the green one say may include other impact or it's not odd, or other events. So the thing is, the extension of time that is caused by this one will generate prolongation cost. So the total money of this plot is this plus this. So this variation caused its direct cost plus the prolongation cost. Guys, the prolongation cost, this is the component of prolongation cost. You pay standing time, contractual cost, site management, site established, finance, head office, site overheads. You will pay all this, and there is a free session I conducted 2 years ago, and I have explained a complete example of how to calculate prolongation cost. Prolongation cost, again, it's the indirect cost that is endured by the contractor due to staying on site for extra time. And this is the component of prolongation cost. When it comes to disruption and acceleration, the cost component of the disruption and acceleration are totally different from prolongation cost. Disruption and acceleration means, disruption in particular, means that you have done something as the owner that cost the contractor to pay for 5,000 hours instead of 1,000 hours. So he paid extra 4,000 hours for a certain activity. So you need to understand when this disruption happened, what are the disciplines that got disrupted, and how many hours have you paid extra due to this disruption. And this is not prolongation cost. This is you will pay it anyway. So, and there is a golden rule in disruption that disruption, of course, disruption for those who are working with Orascom Construction Industries, one of the most recognized and respectable company in Egypt and Middle East in the world, actually. The claim and the contract and claim director of construction of OC, her PhD is in disruption. So disruption cannot be explained in 5 minutes like this. So disruption is a big thing. But the thing is, in simple way, disruption cost component in general is a direct cost you pay as extra hours you paid for a certain discipline due to the disruption the owner caused. So this is as a golden rule, this has not mandated to result in an extension of time. So there is no mandatory to have disruption, to have, in addition to the disruption or as a result of the disruption, an extension of time. So disruption is you paid more hours. There are some methods, and this is a figure also come from a research to, and actually I'm not the one who invented this one. I did this based on another figure provided by the organizers here. So in terms of accuracy, these are the most methods that being used for calculating disruption and acceleration. Acceleration, in general, we have, and this is the explanation of the most recognized method, which is the measured mile to measure disruption or acceleration. Acceleration is simply finishing early. So the owner is asking you to go and finish early or mitigate delays. This will lead us to the last part of this session, and I'm welcoming, starting, just give me today and starting tomorrow, if you digest the information you received here, and if you are interested, you can plot questions in the group, and I will answering starting tomorrow. I'm sorry for skipping the questions here, but we are out of time and I have another commitment. I was planning to do 2-hour session, but I got excited and spent more time, which is, I think, hopefully no one is annoyed by this. But the thing is, when it comes to disruption, we have 3 types of disruption. We have 3 types of disruption. Oh no! Oh, I'm losing my focus. We are talking about acceleration of disruption. We have 3 types of accelerations. Okay, and again, acceleration there is a model by the Construction Management Institute of the United States called Forensic Scheduling Expert, and they have 4 models. One of them is for 25 hours for acceleration only. So it's a big deal like the disruption, where we cannot explain it in 5 minutes. But in a nutshell, there are 3 types of acceleration. One is the straightforward one, which is not compensable. So the contractor is delayed and he is requested to accelerate to recover his delays. So he cannot ask for money for this acceleration. He is not entitled to ask for money. He applies some steps like extra shifts, like increasing the manpower, resequencing, whatever he's going to implement as an acceleration strategy to mitigate the 30 days he is delayed, and he cannot ask for money. So we call it voluntarily acceleration or mitigation. Okay, voluntarily acceleration. This is what the contractor implements to recover his own delay. The second one is a straightforward one also, which is the directive acceleration. So the owner is coming to you and say, Hussam, or project manager, I want to finish the project 1 month earlier. Or he will come to you saying that I caused the delay of 2 months, go accelerate this 2 months. This is my delay, this is my attributed delay, and I want you as the owner or as the contractor to accelerate this on my cost. In this case, it's a straightforward. You will pay for the acceleration cost of the contractor. The acceleration cost only. There is no profit here. Contractor will do the acceleration, report his expenses or acceleration cost, and you will pay this acceleration cost. So this is the second type. The first is voluntarily. The second one is directive or directive acceleration. And both, one is not being, the contractor is not going to be paid. The other one is the contractor is going to be paid. The third one is the controversial one. The third one is the controversial one, which is something called constructive acceleration. In this case, the contractor is subject to a delay attributed to the owner and the contractor submitted an extension of time saying that I want 2 months extension and XYZ prolongation cost, which is a different animal, a different cost, and the owner never replies. The owner never replies. And the it's an interim claim. The contractor updates the claim. I still need 2 months. I still need 2 months, and the owner never replies. So the contractor is afraid that the owner will apply delay damages. Of course, we can go to dispute and go to meetings and do whatever we want later on. But the thing is, for now, I'm not receiving an acceptance to or a granting to my extension of time, and I'm very close to the substantial completion, and the owner might implement delay damages even if I go later and issue a dispute or issue whatever and get back this money. Deducting this money now will implement or will impact my cash flow. So the contractor chooses to accelerate the owner delay and send a notice to the owner saying that, Mr. Owner, you failed to grant me an extension of time. So I chose to go and accelerate the extra 2 months on your cost, and I might not be able to accelerate the 2 months. I might accelerate less or more, but I will ask, in addition to the extension of time that is not granted, there will be no extension of time if I accelerate it. I will ask you for acceleration cost, and this is called constructive acceleration. The problem with I said that at the beginning that the third type is a bit controversial, because normally it goes back and forth discussion. Maybe the owner does not believe that the contractor is entitled to extension of time, or the contractor believes that the owner is intentionally planning to implement delay damages or planning to terminate. This is not the part. The part is by definition, by the book. This is the definition of the 3 types of acceleration. Okay. I was planning to go for more details, but again, time flies when we're having fun. So this is the session for this year, the free session for this year. What you are expecting after the session are as follows. First, you will have the presentation. Today, I'll just do some modification to the presentation and send it back to the organizers so that they can share it with you. You will have the 2 case studies, the PDFs. You will have the table. I will leave it to the organizers to put it in the form, because I'm not that clever in doing or generating full Excel big sheets. So they will give you the table and, of course, the record of this session. And I will be available until further notice, until the end of my life, to in the group if you have any questions. But please try to be just as a favor, try to be a bit specific in the questions. Specific means that introducing a case will take too much time. I'm okay to answer the question and get into discussion related to the cases. However, it might consume time. So if you have specific questions, it would be better. If you have case, we can just discuss how we are going to cover it later on. I wish I have been a useful resource for the past 2.5 hours. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the 50 loyal who stayed up to the end. If you want to have if you have any questions, go ahead, post it. I'll just start.
I was shocked.
Go ahead, please. I still have 2 minutes.
Yeah, just short question. In the start of the slide, you mentioned a term, if I'm not wrong. I think it's partnering. So
Partnering.
is it possible to quickly to explain that one, because it's new for me.
Okay, partnering means that generally partnering means that we agree on a protocol of communication at the beginning so that we minimize the claim. I recommend you to go through the coming slides. So we have, let me just show you, because I cannot present it briefly. Briefly means it's a way of communication we agree upon, a communication protocol we agree upon at the beginning of the project to between the owner and the contractor, granting the contractor a long-term relationship, commercial relationship with the owner, and putting some liabilities on both sides in order to facilitate communication and minimize claims and this kind of stuff. So if we go to the partnering here, if you want to partnering, this is the definition of and this is how things are going. There is a challenge understanding the schedule type and nature going up, and how partnering are aligned with the delivery method, and what are the main strategies of partnering, okay, and what are the method of partnering. And this is an important slide. Thank God. This is the list of references, and one of the partnering strategy I witnessed in my current company is that the companies here, the consulting companies, are developing something called best practices, and they include it as IOM, information only, in the RFPs. The best practices is, for example, we have in HDR scheduling best practices, and there is ECOM. I think they have something like this, and I think also Hill International, one of my previous employers that I'm honored to work with. I'm honored to work with all the employers I served during my 25 years of career. But the thing is, most of the consultation companies that are providing program and project manager, as part of the partnering, they are providing something called best practice. Best practices means that that's how we are dealing with claims. Okay, this is part of the RFP. So, and very big part of it are part of the contract. This is how we are dealing with the schedules, how we evaluate the schedules. This is how we do cost estimating. This is how we evaluate the variation orders. It's like the best the RP, the recommended practices of the association, but company oriented. So if we are going to a project like the one I'm working with now, it's $4 billion project. So we are sharing with the contractor our best practices. This is what you are expecting when you are dealing with us. And once we select a contractor, we have not selected the contractor yet. So once we select the contractor in the initial meetings, we agree together which part are we going to follow, which part are we going to. But very big important part of the partnering also is what you are going to read in case study number 2. So at the beginning, the owner makes himself very clear of how are we going to deal with this, and these are the requirements, and the contractor provides also his opinion. And there is it's common also in Middle East, there is conferences where the contractors, the big contractors and the big owners are meet together and share the industry requirement, and even when a company like my company or one of my previous companies are doing best practices, part of the review is sharing it with the industry. So if we are doing a best practice for scheduling, for example, or for claims, we share this with the industry, with the contractors who are the major spine of the industry. And moving forward, they provide their feedback. This is too much. This is very hard for us to provide. And we revise accordingly. So this is in a nutshell what partnering is. So I have to conclude now because I have another commitment. Thank you very much for your attention again, and hopefully it has been useful. And thank you very much again for being here and listening to me for this very long time. And hopefully, again, I added something to your knowledge and experience. And again, I'm open to questions starting tomorrow. I will be starting answering the question, but just be mindful that if we are comparing to Middle East, I'm minimum 9 hours behind. You are 9 hours ahead, so I might have some delay or due to commitment or due to the time difference. Thank you very much again. Expecting to receive the material of this session very soon by the organizers through the emails or through the application, the group. And have a great day and good night for those who are going to sleep, and have a great day for those who are starting their day, and have a lovely weekend for those who are in weekend. and have a great working day tomorrow for those who are working tomorrow. Thank you very much, and God bless you.